Welcome back to my channel and my no food waste series, and today I'm showing you guys how to pickle red onions. My husband bought too many of these red onions, so I am not going to let them go to waste. Baby, food is too high.
You're not wasting no food, okay?
Period. And yes, I'm using a cutting board. I get so many comments about if I'm cutting on my countertop, but no, I'm not. I'm using an acrylic cutting board. You can get it from Amazon. I will add the link to the description of this video. So all you want to do is peel and remove the skin from your onions just like this. Mine were fairly large, so instead of cutting them in half, I had to cut them in quarters. And baby, when I tell you no food is going to waste, I mean that. These jalapeños were in my refrigerator and baby, were going bad. Baby, look at these jalapeños. I said, you know what? I'm going to add some to my pickled onions. Look at that. I'm going to cut this right on off. Those little bad places, I'm going to cut them right on off, and I'm going to use these jalapeños and add them to my pickled onions. I had bought these jalapeños for another recipe and didn't end up making the recipe, so these jalapeños have been in my refrigerator for over a week. More like 2 weeks. Baby, I got my knife out and just removed those bad little spots off these jalapeños. And I'm going to slice them up when I slice up my onions and add them to a jar of my pickled onions. You'll see at the end of the video, I'll have 2 jars with plain pickled onions. And then I did a jar for my husband with jalapeno and pickled onions together. Listen, you just have to have a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and some simple ingredients to take something that's going bad, turn it into something else. If you follow my content, you already know I love this rotary grater. I call her Birdie. I use her so much in my kitchen. I'm going to use her to slice up these red onions and these jalapenos. Baby, an old video of me talking about this rotary grater was just featured on the Tamron Hall show this past week. So not only is this grater spilling the sweet tea approved, it's also approved by the Tamron Hall show. If you don't have one, I will link it in the description of this YouTube video. I love it because it sticks to the counter and it does not move. And the slicer attachment that comes with it allows me to slice up my onions really thin, which is what you have to do for pickled onions. And I can slice up these 2 onions in seconds and not have to use a knife. Baby, look how easy peasy this is, and it got my onions nice and thin. If you follow my content, I talk a lot about growing up in Eastern North Carolina. My mom taught me how to cook, and in the summers growing up, we would always can a lot. So in my next video of this food waste series, I'm going to show you guys how to take some mandarin oranges that you may have bought too much of and can them to eat them later. But in today's video, it's all about these pickled onions and these pickled jalapenos. I'm slicing up my jalapenos separately into another bowl because I'm going to add them to my last jar of pickled onions because I don't want all of these jalapenos in my pickled onions. The next thing you want to do is just slice up some fresh garlic. I could have totally used the slicer to slice up this garlic. I don't know why I didn't. I guess because I wanted my garlic to be a little bit thicker and not to be razor thin in my pickled onions. I have about 4 to 5 garlic cloves here, and I'm just going to slice it up fairly thin because the garlic is going to give my pickled onions and pickled jalapenos a really good flavor. After you add in your sliced garlic, you just want to give everything a good toss. Baby, if you don't listen to anything else I say, make sure you have some white vinegar in your house. White vinegar is everything. It's good for pickling. It's good for cleaning, baby, deodorizing, and even weed control. So baby, get you some, okay? Now to a bowl, you want to add a cup of hot water. I just boiled my water on the stove and added it to a bowl, just like this. The next thing you're going to need is 4 teaspoons of sugar. And then you're going to need 2 teaspoons of salt. Pickling red onions is so easy and so quick and simple. And you have all of the ingredients in your pantry, I promise you. The next thing you want to do is measure out 3/4 cups of white vinegar. I am doing this twice because I am doubling my recipe. My red onions were pretty large, so I have so many sliced onions and I have enough for 3 jars, so that's why I'm doubling the recipe. You can store these pickled onions in your refrigerator for up to 4 weeks, okay? And I put pickled onions on everything, so it goes pretty quick in my house. Now, baby, get your jars, and all you want to do, it is so simple and easy. Pickling onions is definitely quicker and easier than what I'm going to show you guys with these mandarin oranges. I washed my jars in just hot water and dried them. I did not have to boil them or sanitize them at all. Making these pickled onions is very different from canning the mandarin oranges, and you'll see that in the next video. All you want to do is basically get as many onions in your jar as possible. So you want to pack the jar pretty good. If you had some whole peppercorns, you could add them at this point. There's so many things you can add to give these pickled onions additional flavor. I wanted my daughter to be able to enjoy them, so that's why I just kind of made them plain with just onions and garlic, and then made my husband his own jar with the jalapenos added. Baby, if I was not recording this whole process, this would probably take me about 15 minutes to do. Using that grater saved me a lot of time because I was quickly able to slice up my onions. And I showed you guys how to make the pickling liquid. All you need to do is boil some water and add salt, sugar, and vinegar to it. This is so easy. All you want to do is fill your jars just like this until it covers your onions. Look how absolutely beautiful these onions look in this jar. Now all you want to do is just put the lid on. If you don't see any pickling liquid on the lid, you can just go ahead and seal it. If you do, you just want to wipe the top of the lid off. I had just about enough onions to do 2 full jars of just plain pickled red onions. I am so glad I have been able to do this series for you guys. Food is very expensive right now in the United States, and it's very important that you don't waste any food. Doing simple things like this allows your food to go further. I know I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I buy too much, or I don't make a recipe at the time that I wanted to make it, and the food goes bad, and I don't want to do that moving forward. So this is a quick and easy way to take onions that you may have bought for a sandwich or for a recipe and turn it into pickled red onions. So I have my 2 jars made. I'm going to set them aside, and I'm going to work on my husband's jar. Baby, those jalapeños are about to see the garbage can. I'm so glad I got the idea to add them to a jar for my husband because he absolutely loves anything spicy. I plan on making some pulled pork tacos soon, so this is going to be perfect to go on his tacos. I mean, the color on these jalapeños and red onions is absolutely beautiful. And you cannot tell that those jalapeños were almost going bad. So I'm going to do exactly what I did with the regular jar of pickled onions and just add my onions and my jalapeños to the jar. And baby, them onions did not want to go into this dang on jar, but they going in there. Acting a fool and falling all over the countertop. Look at that. If you missed the first recipe in my No Food Waste series, go and check it out. I showed you guys how to make Biscoff banana bread using some bananas that were going bad. I had about 5 bananas that were going bad. I used 3 of them to make this Biscoff banana bread, and then I froze the other 2 to use for smoothies later. My next no food waste recipe will be posted next week. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and some weeks she loves those halos and takes them to school in her lunchbox, and some weeks she doesn't want to eat them. So instead of them going bad, I'm going to show you guys how to can them and preserve them so you do not waste your money. Just like I did with those other 2 jars, now that I have my jar filled up with the red onions and the sliced jalapeños, I'm just going to add my pickling liquid all the way to the top. Look how far 2 large red onions and 2 jalapeños went in making 3 full jars of pickled onions and jalapeños. And my family and I will be munching on these onions for the next couple of weeks. These came out absolutely beautiful. My favorite is how the jalapeños and the onions look together in the jar. Absolutely beautiful. Baby, I promise you, in less than 30 minutes, that's all it took for me to make 3 jars of pickled onions. That little bit of effort is stretching over the next couple of weeks because I have been using these pickled onions on top of my avocado toast. Let me show you what I like on mine. I just get some Kerrygold butter and some sliced sourdough bread, and I add my butter to my bread and toast it up really well. If you're trying to be a little bit healthier, you can just toast the bread plain and not add butter, but baby, I'm gonna butter my bread every time, okay? After slicing up a ripe avocado, I'm just gonna add my ripe avocado to my toast. Avocados are absolutely great for you. They improve heart health as well as eye health and function. I try to eat as many avocados as I possibly can. So avocado toast and smoothie bowls are what I normally have for breakfast. So I just go in between the 2. It really depends on my mood. I've shown you guys how to make my smoothie bowls in a prior video, so go and check it out. Once I have my avocado mashed, I just add a little bit of kosher salt and then some freshly cracked pepper. Avocado is a little bland, so I always add a little bit of seasoning. If you like a little spice, you can add some crushed red pepper too. Baby, look at these pickled onions after sitting in my refrigerator overnight. They are absolutely beautiful, and I'm going to add a bunch of pickled onions on top of my avocado toast. The combination of pickled red onions and avocado on toast is top tier. You hear me? I am not an egg girl. I do not like eggs whatsoever. But this is what I like on my avocado toast. I add some everything bagel seasoning on top for a little extra razzle dazzle. You can add whatever seasonings you like to the top of your avocado toast. I just like everything but the bagel seasoning. Baby, I'm a poppy seed and a sesame seed girl and a garlic girl. So I love this seasoning. And this is what my breakfast looks like. This was so good. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it and showing you guys how to make pickled red onions. If you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. You definitely don't want to miss my next video where I show you how to can mandarin oranges. And yeah, of course, this avocado toast was spilling the sweet tea approved.